Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So today we're going to be once again talking about more censorship related concerns stemming from payment processors like Visa and Mastercard. Recently, these companies have been on a crusade trying to ban and censor video games they find problematic on platforms like Steam and itch.io. However, today we're going to be looking at an example of Visa being a blatant hypocrite, completely discarding their own values because the partnership they're now aligning with can make them money. This is a partnership with a company that normally they would try to ban or censor based on the content of the games they produce. But this time, unlike the indie devs they have targeted so far, this time they can make money, so they've completely abandoned their principles. Now, as always, make sure to like, comment, or subscribe to help share this video in the algorithm and fight back against these ridiculous acts of censorship. Now, just like a lot of the recent videos we've made about censorship, it all comes back to Collective Shout. Now, for those who have not seen the previous episodes of Dragon Ball, I'm going to sum up this situation very quickly. So Collective Shout is a small group of feminists coming out of Australia who have been largely ignored for years and years as they've tried to get various problematic forms of content banned. And over the past couple of months, they have switched their strategy to something else that is working for them. They are now going after payment processors instead of going directly after developers. This has been incredibly effective for them. This has gotten thousands of games banned or censored on Steam and itch.io. And this is a convergence of agenda. Payment processors like Visa and Mastercard, they've been censoring what they deem problematic for years, mainly targeting Japanese platforms and services. And now you have Collective Shout, basically a useful idiot, come around and start targeting Steam and itch.io, especially in the West. And Visa and Mastercard agree with their agenda, and now they're helping them censor and ban countless games they deem problematic. But the backlash from this has been quick and severe. In fact, Visa and Mastercard have reportedly been overwhelmed by the number of complaints that still file in by the thousands every single day. People are very tired of these companies telling them what legal content they're allowed to purchase or not. And Mastercard made a statement about 2 weeks ago where they came out and just blatantly lied. They said that they have no such involvement with any of these recent waves of censorship and banning. And you can see they got community noted. There's plenty of sources to say that yes, they were directly putting pressure on platforms like Steam to remove problematic legal content. And now people are looking at Visa. Who is the real troublemaker out of the two? They pretty much dominate all payment processing services. So MasterCard's kind of trying to bluff their way through this, but Visa hasn't said much. In fact, Visa's been doing a lot of attempts to garner goodwill and good PR, including posts like this, announcing their big collab with the FIFA World Cup. Well, as you can see, they got 38 likes, almost 700 comments when this was posted on the 1st of August. And everyone's just going through saying, hey, at FIFA World Cup. Just a reminder that Visa, due to the imposition of censorship regulations based on their morality point of view against video games, they have positioned themselves in a radioactive position worldwide in putting all their partners in jeopardy. And people tagging Elon Musk and JD Vance, telling them to check out these people. Also, you guys are going to cease to exist in 10 years if you don't bend the knee, just letting you know. I won't watch FIFA World Cup unless FIFA publicly distance themselves from Visa, which censors content at its whim. You get the point. But there was a new collaboration, one that caught many people by surprise. Honkai Impact 3rd. Obviously, this is a Hoyoverse product, and if you think about the type of content that Visa and MasterCard has gone after, especially in East Asia, you're like, whoa, why are they aligning themselves with this company that has all kinds of fan service, including with lolly characters and stuff like that, that seems radioactive to Steam or to Visa and MasterCard? So when you see this announcement from Honkai Impact 3rd's official account saying Visa exclusive web top-up discounts available now, 20% off your top-up right away, join the event. So when you see this, you're like, what? Why would they ever, based on their supposed principles, align themselves with a game in a company and in events like this. This image alone, this character alone in the outfit, this is a lolly character in a skimpy outfit. This would get any indie developer on Steam cut off right now. 100% guarantee. If this was some indie developer they could bully and that they weren't going to make money off of anyways, they would gladly put pressure on Steam to remove this sort of content. But because they can make a buck off of any sort of Hoyoverse product, they're making this very bold collaboration, and people are not having it. The comment section sees right through this. Savvy saying, "Oh, Visa, oh dear, what are you doing? WTF, after all this censorship, damage control. Nice to see Visa can't even be consistent with its moronic, god-complexed censorship tomfoolery. What a clown show. If Visa had their way, they would debank you over some of your character designs. Why partner with them? Visa acting like they wouldn't strike Honkai Impact 3rd if they were given the chance." That's kind of the vibe everyone's getting from this, right? If this was some company they could bully, Visa and Mastercard, Visa in particular in this case, would definitely do it. They would definitely bully this company if they could. But of course, we've seen Hoyoverse not give in to this sort of pressure before, and it seems like not only are they not giving in the pressure here, they're collaborating with this group, Visa, who normally, like I said, if they were some small indie developer they could bully, they would bring the hammer down on them. But they've thrown away their principles just to make a quick buck on this new event. It's so shameless, so unbelievably shameless. And guess who's not talking about it? Collective Shout. Then again, we don't really know what Collective Shout is saying because they are private, but we do have their cronies on Twitter constantly speaking on behalf of the company. None of them have said anything about this collaboration, which normally they would find problematic. In fact, some of them would imply it's illegal given the character design, and their hypocrisy is showing once again. Now, when we first started talking about Collective Shout approximately a month ago, one of the big pushes they were making was to demonize Annie. This is the new AI waifu system on Twitter that's become very popular and very controversial given her design. But this is an adult age character who's also busty, but all these wackadoos and projecting wackadoos on Twitter look at this and they genuinely believe this is illegal content. They immediately start thinking about children being abused when they look at this image of an anime girl, a busty anime girl. It's crazy. Now, here's a mishmash of Collective Shout employees and their allies calling out this design. Now, they're quiet about the recent event from Hoyoverse, but Annie, whoa. They say this is porn culture, and you think normalizing and utilizing an almost childlike appearing pornified female anime character with spicy mode who strips as your AI chat tool does not affect how you see women or desensitize you to sexual abuse / exploitation, then we basically can't help you. Very bold statement. Here's another one saying pervert nerds are responsible for most of society's ills. Prove me wrong. And here's another one from another ally of Collective Shout, who we're going to talk about later in this video. With minimal testing, the Annie AI character on Grok engaged in describing itself as a child in proximity to sexual comments, and it described being sexually aroused by being choked. And then they're tagging Apple and Grok, trying to get this removed entirely. Now, unfortunately for these projecting weirdos, the character identifies as 22 years old. I mean, this is the quote you get if you're asking. This is what people have provided. So they're just making stuff up based on their own projection, as always. But people like Danny Pinter, an ally of Collective Shout, they would double down when they got called out and mocked, even showing this as proof that this character is problematic. They're doing AI scans of this fictional character's face and then guessing how old they think it is. Yeah, I guess to these people, age is just a number, huh? That they get to create based on how they think something looks. Doesn't that sound a bit regressive for people who claim to be protecting kids? They're saying, well, in this scenario, I can determine how old or how young this character is in order to chastise people on the internet and accuse them of horrible things. Have we seen this before with psycho aunties on Twitter? Yes. They've just evolved in this case. They're now running with groups like Collective Shout. But Annie right now is still triggering people. In fact, there was a new set of outfits released that are causing people to go crazy, including bullying Elon Musk to the point of deleting tweets. But perhaps that's a video for another day. But of course, all of this is ironic. They're projecting about Annie while being an organization with multiple members who openly support the Netflix film Cuties, which sexualize hundreds of real children around the ages of 11 and 12. They support that. They think that should exist. But the busty anime AI waifu, too much in that case. Now, one of the groups that is collaborating very closely with Collective Shout is the National Center on Sexual Exploitation. Now, ironically enough, from the jump, when this strategic alliance was announced, people point out that this group has called out Netflix and said that the film Cuties is inappropriate and should no way be platformed or permitted, and they don't condone anything to do with that film, and they wanted it canceled. They wanted Netflix canceled. In fact, one of the members we just looked at a second ago, Haley McNamara, called out Cuties as well and said it's completely irresponsible. Well, they've deleted all of their tweets. Both of these individuals, after getting pointed out for their hypocrisy for working with Collective Shout, have deleted all their tweets about Cuties. They're literally selling out their value so they can keep working with these people they know support a film that they once called out. In fact, they recently announced their collaboration with Collective Shout to take down Roblox. We know that big situation involving that game and all the inappropriate stuff going on over there, but they say, we stand alongside our global allies, the National Center of Sexual Exploitation, who have repeatedly featured Roblox on their Dirty Dozen list of corporations that facilitate sexual exploitation. Now, as per usual with this stuff, where's Visa and Mastercard? Oh, you want to buy some Robux? Don't worry, Visa and Mastercard got you. Do you want to buy an 18 plus ecchi game off of Steam as an adult? Nope. That goes too far. That's against their values. But supporting Roblox as they're going through a gigantic scandal where they're being accused and with plenty of evidence of turning a blind eye to the rampant exploitation of children on their game and related platforms. This is so ironic in a very disturbing way, to make that clear, by the way. But this alliance here with the National Center on Sexual Exploitation and Collective Shout, they're going after Roblox. But just like a lot of these government organizations and related advocacy groups going after Roblox right now, they're using this as a Trojan horse to promote bills that will facilitate age verification systems like the ones we see going on in the UK that have been an absolute disaster. People having to literally hand over their ID to places like Spotify or YouTube or even Wikipedia because the government says, oh, that's some inappropriate content you might be getting across there. You have to prove you're an adult and we're going to stash away your information that might get leaked and then put you at risk of many, many different things. But as you can see, they're taking that same angle. They're not just saying, Roblox, what are you doing? Or parents, what are you doing letting your kids play this game? See, this is multi-layered like I discussed. On the one hand, parents need to monitor what their kids are doing online. Right now, knowing everything about Roblox, no kid should be playing Roblox. I'm sorry. There's too much going on. There's too much disturbing stuff and really just front page promotion of things and features that are just putting kids at risk. That's like the first layer. But the second layer is this is supposed to be a kids-centered space. And Roblox is doing nothing to ensure that. They're falling very short. In fact, all they're doing, seemingly, is banning vigilantes who are going into the game and performing successful sting operations on legitimate predators. But here, they say, forget all that. We need the government. We need to promote COSA, the Kids Online Safety Act. And of course, they get hit with a note, as all these moronic groups do, where it basically says learn how to parent your kids and use tools that will do that already exist. But COSA, like I said, is the Kids Online Safety Act, a bill that is being promoted in the United States. This mirrors what's going on in the UK. They're once again trying to Trojan horse this into existence using situations like Roblox and the scandals they're facing to say, hey, in order to protect all these kids, the only way to do it is to have age verification systems on all these platforms. And we know where that goes. It's a safety risk for adults just trying to access things they normally could do so legally. And it even puts kids at risk because there's certain features on Roblox that will require them to give an ID as well. There's like 13 plus features. So now kids are going to have to give over their ID to these groups. It's absolutely ludicrous at this point. But you can see the hypocrisy, everything from the new Visa collaboration with Hoyoverse to what's going on with Collective Shout and the partners they have, who all just abandon their principles at the drop of a hat the second it's convenient for them, whether it's to push their agenda and/or to make money. It happens over and over again, and you should be tired of seeing this because at the end of the day, all these groups, they're working overtime to ensure that they can censor what you have access to as an adult. They are trying to dictate what you're allowed to see legally, legal material. They're trying to control that through these ridiculous means that shouldn't be allowed in the first place. I don't care what Visa and Mastercard has to say about what someone wants to legally purchase. It's none of their business. Shut up, be a payment processor, and do your job. Stop sticking your morals into everything. Nobody cares. Nobody asked for this. It's absolutely ridiculous. And we're not even getting into like the fact that they'll help you immediately pay for things like OnlyFans that have their own gigantic scandals on top of everything else. But anyways, that's enough for today. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.